Ambassador Zex Theron of the Valdari Collective prided himself on his diplomatic composure. In his 3 centuries of service, he had negotiated trade agreements with the war-hungry Crothians, mediated territorial disputes between the telepathic Mindweavers and the cybernetic Nexari, and once even prevented a genocide through nothing but carefully chosen words. His silver carapace bore the scars of conflicts resolved, and his 4 eyes had witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared him for this moment. "You did what?" The words erupted from his translator with such force that it sparked and smoked. Around the council chamber, representatives from 47 species recoiled as Zex Theron's usually calm demeanor shattered like glass. Councillor Reth, the Cathari administrator whose scales had turned a sickly yellow, clutched his datapad defensively. "The human vessel violated Quadrant 7 protocols. We had no choice but to detain." "Detain?" Zex Theron's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper that somehow carried more menace than his earlier shout. "You imprisoned 70 human juveniles in a detention facility designed for hardened criminals, for 3 rotations, without notifying their homeworld. They were trespassing and restricted. They were children on a school trip." The silence that followed was deafening. Zex Theron had never raised his voice in council before. Not once in 300 years. Councillor Vesh of the Antarian Hive, whose compound eyes could process multiple realities simultaneously, spoke carefully. "Zex Theron, while I understand your concern, surely you're overreacting. They were fed, housed, and unharmed. We followed standard detention protocols." Zex Theron turned to her, and something in his posture made the ancient hive mind take an involuntary step backward. "Do you know what humans call their young?" he asked quietly. "Juveniles? Offspring?" Fesh ventured. "They call them kids. Do you know what that word originally meant in their language?" Zex Theron didn't wait for an answer. It meant baby goats. Fragile creatures that required constant protection. That's how humans view their young, as precious, vulnerable beings that must be guarded at all costs. He activated his own datapad, projecting images into the chamber. "This is a human parent. Notice the biological response. Elevated cortisol, increased adrenaline, heightened aggression. This is what they call Mama Bear mode or Papa Wolf mode. They named it after their planet's predators because that's what they become when their offspring are threatened." Reth's scales had gone from yellow to white. "But we didn't threaten them. We merely—" "You put them in cages," Zex Theron interrupted, his voice like ice. "Do you understand what happens when you cage a human child? Do you have any conception of the psychological trauma, the fear, the—" He stopped, forcing himself to breathe. "I served on Earth for 20 years, he continued, calmer now but no less intense. "I've studied their history. Do you know what humans do to those who harm their children? They have a saying, 'Hell hath no fury like a mother protecting her child.' And counselors, let me be absolutely clear, human hell is not metaphorical." He pulled up another document. "This is the human response to the Zarthan incident. When Zarthan pirates kidnapped 5 human children for ransom, it took humanity 72 hours to mobilize their fleet. They glassed 3 Zarthan outposts, disabled their entire military network, and extracted every single child without a single human casualty. The Zarthan Confederacy still hasn't recovered. That was for 5 children. The color drained from Reth's scales entirely. You imprisoned 70. Councillor Vesh's antennae drooped. Surely they'll understand it was a bureaucratic error. We'll issue an apology, pay reparations. Reparations? Zex Theron laughed, a bitter sound. You think humans care about credits when it comes to their offspring? They're a species that will literally throw themselves into fire to save their young. They'll fight wars, topple governments, and burn down civilizations. They have an entire category of laws dedicated to crimes against children. Laws so severe that even their own criminals won't tolerate those who break them. He brought up a communication log. I received this message 1 hour ago. The human vessel's distress beacon was finally received by Earth. 3 human warships are already en route. Their flagship is the Unconquerable, commanded by Admiral Chen. Do you know who Admiral Chen is? The silence was his answer. Her daughter was on that school trip. Her 12-year-old daughter, who wanted to be a xenobiologist and spent 3 rotations in a cell, wondering if she'd ever see her mother again. Reth made a small, distressed sound. Humanity has a saying, Zex Theron said quietly. Don't mess with someone's kids. It's perhaps the most important rule in human society. Break it and they will move mountains to make you pay. They've toppled dictators for it. They've invented new technologies for it. They've literally changed the laws of entire planets for it. He turned to face the full council. In my 3 centuries of service, I have learned one undeniable truth about humans. They are a species of extremes. They can be the most forgiving, compassionate beings in the galaxy. They will share their resources, their knowledge, their very culture with anyone who asks. But harm their children? His 4 eyes swept across every representative. Then they become something else entirely. Something primal. Something that makes the ancient predators of their homeworld look tame. Counselor Vesh's voice was barely a whisper. What do we do? Zex Theron pulled up a communication interface. We do the only thing we can. We grovel, we apologize. We return every single child to their parents immediately. We throw ourselves on humanity's mercy and pray to whatever gods we believe in that they're feeling forgiving today. He paused at the door. And counselors? If we survive this, I suggest we add a new protocol to our regulations. Do not, under any circumstances, ever imprison human children. Not for violations. Not for accidents. Not for any reason whatsoever. Because if there's one thing I've learned about humanity, it's this. They'll forgive you for almost anything. But not that. Never that? As Zex Theron left to begin the most important negotiation of his career, Reth looked at the approaching human fleet on his monitors. 3 warships, heavily armed, moving at maximum speed, and at their head, the Unconquerable carrying one very angry mother. He had made many mistakes in his career, but this, he realized with dawning horror, might be his last.